am your host, Elliot Pierre. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show, and I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank everybody who's watching the videos online as well, and the clips seem to be doing extremely well. So, from the bottom of my heart, for everybody who's been tuning in, thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually went down to Staples yesterday and had a number of individuals come and talk to me saying that they're watching the show. So, thank you very much. So, as per usual, I'm not going to introduce the guest we have today. I'm going to let this gentleman do it himself. Very excited to have him here. So, my man, please introduce yourself to the people at home. Tell them who you are and what you're all about.
Hi, my name's Jamie Attfield. I'm the owner-publisher for Snapwood Buffalo.
Okay, and so what is Snapwood Buffalo for the people at home who don't know?
Well, Snapwood Buffalo is our community's good newspaper, and we're a newspaper that gets distributed throughout the region that covers community events, news, and media.
Okay, okay. So I have seen the magazine a number of times. I've been in it once or twice. So I know that you guys go to events. I know you talk to people, you put individuals' names in. I like what you just said. It's all about sharing like good vibes in Fort McMurray.
Mm-hmm.
So in regards to the events, how do you find out about the events that your people are going to?
Well, our events are submitted to our website first, and then once they are input, we make sure that our community associates, our community freelancers get notified as to when and where they're happening throughout town.
Okay.
And then we can schedule them in to make appearances and come out to the events and cover them accordingly. And then once they're committed and they actually cover the events, and they'll put them into the paper where I can make the final edits and cuts and then go to print later on in the month.
Okay. Now, I'm a pretty busy guy. I go to a number of different events around town, and it's always blown my mind that every time I go to any event, even if it's happening in the same day, almost at the same time, you have people there. So you obviously must have a team of individuals working with you, taking photographs, going all to these events.
That's right. Our community associates, our freelancers, always want to make sure that they're getting out there and they're covering every event that they possibly can.
Right.
To make sure we're accomplishing our mission on strengthening the RWB through greater communications, and we're really making sure we're bringing everyone that much closer together by covering as much as we possibly can.
Right. So how many freelancers do you think you have going out taking all these pictures of the events in town?
Roughly 8 to 10 or so, depending. And even when some gaps can't be filled, I'll go and cover events too.
That's incredible. That's unbelievable. Yeah, because you guys literally, my hat goes off to you. The amount of events that you guys show up on, the photos that you have, incredible. So if I am having an event in town and I do email you, what's the criteria to like what classifies as will show up to this, or like that's kind of not our thing?
Well, we'll make sure that we always do all we can to cover as much as we can. So sometimes we will cover some more controversial events, for instance, but we'll make sure that we cover it and we'll make sure we put a positive scope or put it in a positive light.
Right, right. Okay, now there's another component. Like I definitely have picked up your paper from time to time and seen who's in it. It's like finding Waldo, looking for myself, basically, sometimes. But you have an online component as well, on social media platforms as well as a website. Can you explain a little bit of that to us?
Well, social media, we find, is a great tool for getting news out to the community very quickly, very fast. But we find that it doesn't really have a great shelf life. It doesn't live for very long. Its impressions don't last very long. So that's where the print aspect comes into play. Each sort of provides its own unique abilities and its own level of service to the community. And our online platform can cover a little bit of both. I mean, whenever you go there, you can not only just see what's happening for that particular month, but you can go and look up historical months in the past and see what has been going on in the town throughout the different years.
Right, right on. Now, how long has Snap been in Fort McMurray? How long has the publication been in place for?
Almost
roughly?
10 years. Almost 10 years.
Oh,
yeah.
10 years. That's incredible.
I'm the third owner right now. Before that was Dana Noble, and before that was Rick Kirshner.
Okay. Wow, that's a huge accomplishment, 10 years. And it's a very popular magazine. I know lots of people pick it up for sure.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to, let's talk about years. How many years have you been here in Fort McMurray?
I came here in March 2006.
2006, okay. And what brought you here?
Well, I came from Vancouver, and I found out Vancouver was a very difficult town to work in. I found it was very tough to, uh, for anybody young to try and get ahead. I found that the opportunities that were available there were rather limiting, and I found that when I came here and did some looking around, that it was a much faster way, or much better way, or more of an equal opportunity method for anybody to try and get themselves, in a better growth position.
Okay. And so when you came out here, what were you doing?
As a mechanic,
Okay. What kind of mechanic?
automotive.
All right. And so where did you get started? What was the first
Well, the
job?
first job I had was actually at AMP downtown, just as a flat rate technician. And eventually I went into, moved on from there as a contractor and worked for Leo Roberts at its Syncrude base mine site.
Okay.
I lasted on there until 2008, and then transferred out to Fort McKay in 2010, and sort of bounced around for a while until eventually I wanted to move into heavy equipment technician. And from there, I started that around 2012, and in 2012 to 2000 and like January 2017, was working on my HET red seals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And so you have your Red Seal
I do.
certification.
I've
Oh,
got them. I've
wow.
got them completed now. Yeah.
Oh, so you're hardcore. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want to do that if you needed to.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to have that kind of possibility, have that kind of freedom, and that was one of the reasons why I came out here, was to pursue that opportunity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I found is in 2015, I started to get around more of the local apprenticeship committee, and I got around the sort of the more background intergovernment intricacies that surround the trade itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that what a better way to bring this to um, the community, and make sure, like, if I'm going to be working with this and moving with this, then I want to hear or provide input or directions as to what can be done. And started working more and more with the orgs, the NPOs, the charities, to on hoping to bring that to them or with them. And that's when the fire hit in early 2016.
Right.
So then my role essentially changed, and it became very dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the need for the community not just increase, but the number of people that needed to increase as well at the same time. Felt that this need needed to be filled, so committed a lot of my spare time towards serving the community on rebuilding itself, getting ahead, finding a means to move forward essentially. And from 2016 to 2019, was very committed to that role.
Right.
I mean, in a few different orgs around the community, around the town. And right around the same time, this is when Snap came available. And I thought, well, what a great way to help the community and move the community forward again. So rather than committing to, say, only just a few here and there, I could commit to the whole community as a total,
Mm-hmm.
and really work with it to promote that with our message of hope and our positive news. What it is that the community really does need to be working with, and what they need to be getting stronger.
Yeah. On that topic, the community, you've been here for a while. Like, I love that you have shifted from your traditional site role into more of an advocate in the community.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think makes Fort McMurray special?
Well, I think that its community is very special. Whenever there is something that happens here in town, whether it be like the flood, for instance, or the fire, or I mean, even something as simple as, like, if a neighbor loses their home, or loses a loved one or a pet or something, then there's always that outreach for support for people to work with, and feel that they're comforted, and they're really part of a network. They're really part of a larger, broader family in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's totally true.
Mm-hmm.
So I've spent a little bit of time out at site, not very much.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of working out at Syncrude for a little bit and transitioned into working in town for the rest of my career. What do you find are the biggest differences for you from the trade that you were doing when you're going out to site day in, day out, working in an oil sands, to now transitioning into like a Fort McMurray kind of inner core role?
Well, it's a little difficult when you're out at site to really get all the information and feel like you're part of that community. When your life is committed to simply getting up in the morning, getting on a bus, and then going out to site, and then coming home on a bus, and then going to bed, you have to really make sure you take a commitment to the community, and you put that extra time aside to become part of it, to really commit yourself to be an integral asset essentially.
Right. Yeah. So the whole purpose of this show is for me to get to know people a little bit better outside of just the business aspect. So I know you're a busy guy. You and me bump into each other tons. However, I have no idea what you like to do in your free time. So as far as like your free time, when you're not taking pictures, when you're not talking to people, when you're not working around Snap, what do you do just to kind of?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, I've got pets of my own. I've got two cats and one dog. I mean, I like to work on my house from time to time. I've got like gardening is one of my hobbies, and I'll also work with a couple different groups here. I mean, and help them promote, market. I mean, there's one called Everest 2021, exactly, where an individual has committed to becoming the first Canadian to summit Mount Everest, who is a heart attack survivor himself, supporting heart health education, and that's one of the causes that I work closely with. Also, our Rotary Oil Sands group here in town, I'm a part of, and I even work with Special Olympics with Buffalo for their marketing committee to help them promote and make sure that they get the word out there for what they're doing in town as well.
Right on. I want to hear a little bit more about the Rotary Club
Mm.
because I know there's two different facets of it. So the Rotary Club that you belong to.
Well,
Let's hear about that.
there's two Rotary clubs here in town. There's a Rotary club, and they're kind of I haven't had um, the ability to really go and venture out and visit their club yet, but it's on my to do list.
Hmm.
But the other club is called the Rotary Oil Sands Club, and we used to meet at the Sawridge out in Taganova on the north end of town uh, every other Tuesday. But since COVID has happened, we've had to adjust to an online platform, and we work with a couple different community projects. Like there's a music festival we sponsor each year, and there's a Bikes for Kids event that we are currently working with or trying to collaborate with in align with SPCA on to raise funds for. And there's a lot of different good things that come from working within the Rotary Club that we can again further support the community on.
Right. Now with the Rotary Club and all clubs, I know you're always looking for new members. So this is a great
Mhm.
time to kind of talk about how people can get involved and like what do you think are the benefits to people coming and joining the Rotary Club that you belong to?
Well, it's not just the Rotary Club that can benefit, but any club for that matter, or any org or any charity. And something that I always encourage those that want to get involved in the community to do is to ask themselves what it is that they feel the most passionate about. What do they feel that they would want to commit themselves to? What do they want to donate their time towards? So, for instance, if it's something that they feel would be that impacts them, that they feel very passionate about, and that's what they need to be pursuing. I mean, they really have to put their heart into it and really apply themselves to wanting to do that, or really stay committed to that, or stay focused to that.
Right.
And if they can, and they have that why, so to speak, then they're going to be that much more able or that much more committed, and then the community, the org, and themselves are going to be that much more better off for it.
Right. Right. So let's get back to Snap again. I know we do have some young viewers. I know Tanner, my man over there, has been putting stuff on Snapchat, trying to get the youth watching the show. For some of the young viewers at home, obviously you have a number of freelance photographers.
Hmm.
If there's somebody at home who has a passion with photography and wants to make this like a career, what kind of advice would you give somebody who like wants to become a photographer or work in that landscape?
Well, I would recommend that they, first off, get themselves a decent digital camera. At least get some proper tools for the trade, and then they just try and experiment with it. I mean, get their hands on it. Really get involved, gain a little bit of experience. Like try working with lighting, try working with, different mediums, for instance, and then start getting involved in other groups that are like-minded. I mean, look for branching out and trying to get more advice and tips. They could reach out to myself if they want. I mean, I've had a couple of freelancers just do sort of one-off pieces here and there, and get involved that way as well to try and become part of the community and network themselves at the same time, cover events and become a little more known.
Okay. Now, I always get asked based on my camera equipment or those little videos that I do from time to time, what is my camera? What do I like to use? People
Hmm.
love to talk about equipment. So, what is your go-to camera? What do you love shooting with?
Well, I've got a Nikon D850.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very nice camera. It's I have to say it's literally like just point shoot. I mean, there's a couple really cool features with it. I mean, it's a very great beginner's camera that I mean even a professional can use.
Okay. For you guys at home, you're not seeing this. Tanner in the background's pumping his hands up in the air. He's a big believer in Nikon. So
I also own a D850.
there you go. So Jamie, we're at the part of the show, and when I say we're at the part of the show, we do this randomly throughout the show. It's called the Mac City Minute. So what's going to happen is Tanner is going to rattle off 5 questions for you, and without thinking, as quick as you can, we just need you to generate an answer.
Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Okay.
All right, Tanner, hit him with the questions.
Alrighty, question number 1. What is one thing that people don't know about you?
What is one thing people don't know about me? I've had a pickup truck for about 12 years.
Alrighty, question number 2. What does Fort McMurray have that you didn't think it would ever have?
Well, I didn't think it would have such a strong sense of community. I came here thinking it was a workers' town, a young town, and it didn't have the network that it really had.
What is your go-to lunch spot in town?
Oh, well, I really like to go to Syracuse sometimes for a treat, but Fuji's sometimes as well.
Fuji's
Is good. Yeah, and I just had what was it? What there's an Indian place downtown. What's it called? Spices. That's the one. Yeah.
Spices, yeah. All right, so this one might not apply to you as much, but what do you think would be an ideal way to spend 7 days off if you could get it?
Well, I mean, actually, I spend a lot of my time just here in town. I mean, like, if I wanted to go places, then I probably would, but I prefer to be here.
Alrighty, and what do you and your friends do for fun?
Well, all my friends, I mean, we're all online these days, so we pretty much just hang out there on the online communities and chat and connect those ways.
Awesome, those have been your 5 questions.
There you go, the Mac City Minute. Good. You rattled those off really quick. We had a good one yesterday that I just want to ask just because it was a great question, because I have an answer to it. Where is your favorite place in town to get a poutine?
Oh my. Well, the only place that comes to mind where you can these days, it would be like probably Tim Hortons.
Okay, all right. My answer, for anybody who cares, is the Fort McMurray Ski Hill.
Oh.
That is the correct answer, yes.
I think it is. Like, I know it's not the place that most people think about, like
Yeah.
the ski hill, but the poutine at the ski hill.
I don't even go out there
Unreal.
to ski, I just go out there for the poutine.
Yeah, even back in the day, like when we could go, the Barons poutine. If you go to, I call it Thickwood Arena, born and raised. That's what it is. I know it was the Chasm Center now. What's the new name of it now? It's
Centerfire Place.
there you go. But they have some pretty banging poutines as well. But number 1 spot for me. Giving a big shout out to Vista Ridge Ski Hill for their poutines. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, man. So we're winding down now. I want to thank you very much for coming in today. Really do appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll be coming back more. That's the whole thought process of this show. Is it's 20 minutes. People of Fort McMurray get to know a little bit about you, but not everything. So you can keep coming back. And if snaps happen having any kind of events, definitely this is the place where you can come and get a little bit of extra coverage. And I know we're both working on the gentleman who's climbing Mount Everest. So hopefully we can get him on the show soon.
I look forward to that, yeah.
Before we cut you loose, one more time, shameless plug. Tell everybody at home about Snap, how they can digest it, where they can find you, how they can get involved. Let's hear about Snap one more time, please.
Well, right now, Snapwood Buffalo is taking a minor break during COVID lockdown conditions, and we're more or less focusing on creating our own organization to help advocate for it and the community's positivity and carry our mission for strengthening strengthening the RMWB forward again. So we're really focusing on creating, completing registration, getting everything set up on our feet, and starting to make sure aligned volunteers get fundraising efforts underway. So that way, when everything does get lifted, we're in a much stronger position to keep completing our mission going forward.
Okay, and so if people want to get in contact with Snap, how do they do it?
Well, you can either reach us by phone, obviously. You can go on our website, or you can reach us on our Facebook page. We also do have an Instagram account as well.
Perfect. So a lot of places to reach out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, Fort McMurray, this was a great way to end the week. Great guest for the last Friday episode of this week. So for everybody who tuned in to all the shows this week, thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. I want to give a big shout out to all the guests who came to be the inaugural guests on the first week. We got some banging guests coming up as well. If you missed the live show, that's okay. It's recorded. Check it out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or just enjoy the mini clips. But other than that, hope you're having a great day. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly